So, Lee Anderson, who is the deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, has come out and said that illegal migrants who don't like the conditions under which they're being held should F off back to France, or better, not come at all in the first place.
Oh my God, so based.
I know.
Yeah. I covered a bit of this on yesterday's podcast with Callum, and I'm just going to say what I said then, which is that no mention of legal migration.
No, absolutely. And that's a crucial point that we're going to get into later. So this comes after 20 migrants refused to board the Bibby Stockholm, which is the barge that's currently moored in Dorset, that's going to be used to house illegals.
The Carnival cruise, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you want to? I'd like you to have a guess why these 20 migrants refused to board.
I saw this, so I'm not going to spoil it. Harry, do you know the reason?
I know the reason. I won't spoil it.
John, if we can pull up the next one.
Is it because it's literally a floating concentration camp?
Not quite. It's better than that.
No,
John, can we have the next one?
I'll move it to the next one. Oh, no.
Back one. There we go.
Severe fear of water.
Right. Okay. So let me get this straight. Came over on an inflatable dinghy
across the English Channel
under the auspices of an Albanian people trafficker. Celebrated as soon as they got to shore. Were so petrified of water they threw their passports and all their personal documents in it.
Yeah.
But now they can't go on the Disney cruise liner.
Apparently so. Yeah, they got some good lawyers working for them there.
I interrupt this segment to bring you an important message about this stuff, the dollar. Not going so well, is it? Inflation is out of control and debt is even more out of control. In fact, the US government is on the verge of spending $1 trillion a year just servicing its debt. It spends about $6.6 trillion and it only collects about $4.6 trillion in revenues. So you can see that this situation is, rapidly taking a turn for the worse. You might want to consider some gold and silver, and that is why that we've done a partnership deal with Goldco, and we've created LotusEatersGold.com. Go and check that out. It's an offer for our American viewers. You can transfer a proportion of your IRA into this, and if you do so, you're going to get some of this lovely stuff, some bonus silver thrown in on top, up to $10,000. Or you can even take delivery of the physical gold to your home address if you prefer. So if you want money that goes clang when you put it down, check out LotusEatersGold.com.
Right, okay. I'm getting a strong whiff of BS.
Indeed.
As am I.
Fear not, gentlemen, because outside of these 20 who refused, the first coachload of migrants were moved onto the boat on Monday.
Right.
How many? A whole 15.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
And
Finally, glad to see the system working.
Yes.
At last, Rolls-Royce service there. The barge has a capacity of 500 overall, so that's about 1%.
Well, nice and roomy for them.
Of all that came in the last year.
No. 3% of the capacity of the barge.
Yes, wonderful. But the TripAdvisor reviews that are coming out of the barge are a little bit mixed, with some saying it's got good food and beds, and others comparing it to Alcatraz. So I want you to be the judge. We're going to go into this video here, John. If we scroll down, sorry, it's you, Harry, isn't it? So it's this one. If we watch this with the audio, please.
It just looks like a typical Premier Inn.
No, that's not the video that you're after, is it?
Yes, that. If you click watch video there.
I'm not saying who sent us these snapshots of life on board the Bibby Stockholm, but
Alcatraz.
This is how he feels after his first night.
That just looks like
Our room is
PGO
small.
places I
We can't
visited
even
when I
put
was
clothes
7.
in the closet for one person.
That's better than my uni
It's like a
accommodation
prison
room.
here. The sound of locks and security checks gives me the feeling of entering Alcatraz prison. It's terrible that they want to accommodate 500 people here.
Somebody else filmed breakfast being served aboard the vessel that's designed to save money and show there's no luxury in our asylum system.
I've stayed in worse hostels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now
that's better than every YMCA I've ever seen.
Yeah. Now there's one almost imperceptibly minor detail that does set this place apart from Alcatraz, and that is that they can leave whenever they want. Go for a wander.
That tends to help.
Yeah, go for a walk in the English countryside, presumably. And I'm guessing as well in Alcatraz they don't serve pancakes and frosties for breakfast.
Nutella wasn't really
I've not asked
Al Capone all that much.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that old Clint Eastwood film. Maybe that's a big plot point.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we're going to move on to some of the reactions to Mr. Anderson's comments. So to start, we've got Alex Chalk here, who is the Justice Secretary. And he said this on LBC.
Clear off back to France.
Yeah.
Does he speak for the party? Lee Anderson expresses the righteous indignation of the British people. Yeah, he does it in salty terms, and that's his style. But his indignation is well placed. People are
So
coming
you
from
agree
a
they
safe
can
country.
clear off back to France?
Well, people are coming from a safe country. France is a signatory to the European Convention on Human Rights, and people should claim asylum in the first country. It's not like there shouldn't just be like a sort of open shopping list of where you want to go. So he expresses himself in his characteristically robust terms, but there is a lot of sense in my respectful view in what Lee said.
Your colleague,
Yeah.
It's amazing what you'll say when you're about to lose an election.
Indeed. So if we pull up the next article, the government has come out and said that this is their official response. They back Lee Anderson fully in his comments. Now, I just have to ask, the way Alex Chalk is talking there, he's talking as if he's in opposition.
Yep.
You are the government. Do something.
Yes.
So frustrating. And Robert Jenrick, likewise, has also come out and said, if we can again have the next link, that Lee Anderson is expressing the public's deep frustration. We understand. We understand the public's deep frustration.
Hashtag 13 years.
Do something then.
You have stewarded the demolition of this country. And again, as we have both pointed out here, they are saying nothing about the mass legal migration, which is undermining the integrity culturally and economically of Britain. And to Lee's credit, he has thrown his lot in with the New Conservatives. That's Tom Hunt, Miriam Cates, Danny Kruger, who are some of the dissident backbenchers who have set forth a practical policy set of ideas that want to reduce legal migration by at least 400,000 plus more. And they're all sensible suggestions. And then on the day this debuted, one, Lee Anderson was not allowed to go and speak with them despite signing on to it because of his role as deputy party chairman. And two, the people in Downing Street came out and said, we think the current number of migration is legitimate. So they are hiding the ball here. This is their 5-point plan to stop the boats, but that just means creating safe and legal routes for all of these doctors, lawyers, and engineers to flood our country.
I've got an idea. Instead of, I know you've spoken to the New Conservatives,
Yes.
and I'm sure in comparison to Tories, they're all very nice and chipper people. I've got a better policy than, what was it, 224,000 is net migration that they want to bring it down to?
Reduce it by 400,000.
Down to about 200 and something thousand. Yes. That's still a big number.
I agree.
That's still far too many people. I've got an amazing idea. Close the borders.
Yes.
Peaceful remigration schemes where you pay people to go back to their countries. And for those who are running obviously illegal businesses, start to actually implement fairly some of the business regulations that you have.
Imagine
that will probably make it difficult for these people to run legitimate businesses because they were never legitimate in the first place.
Yeah,
Imagine
and then they'll voluntarily choose to go back to their home country.
But Harry, what will we do without the barber shops and the American candy stores on Oxford Street?
I guess I'll just have to go and get my haircut somewhere else.
Please do.
So anyway, next we have the reaction of the manlet
No
king of
class,
London.
no taste, you lot, I swear.
So the manlet king of London himself saying,
the poison dwarf.
indeed, language matters. This lot has been in government for 13 years. After their abject failure, all that's left is stoking up more division and hate. We deserve so much better.
I could have tweeted the first part of that.
Now, I agree that we deserve better, but I think
No, it's nowhere near wordy enough.
I forget you're Northern. We'll put it in a pop-up book next time.
Oh, cheers, that's a big help.
But I agree that we do deserve better. But I think our understanding of better is probably quite different to old Sadiq's.
Well, he did say London needs more migrants,
Yes,
so he's going to make it worse.
indeed.
Thanks.
And next we have Miss Two Left Shoes herself, saying that this is a new low even for the Tories, and she followed this up with
this
one
was-
of the most
this
legendary
was
tweets
amazing.
of all time.
This was so based.
You can take this next one, and she deleted it as well.
I'm saying that was a joke, obviously.
These migrants have indeed effed off to the bottom of the sea. Speaking about some of the migrants that died in a shipwreck off the coast
Diane
of Italy.
Abbott announces her new relaunch of the BNP.
Yes.
Oh, just incredible. I mean, let's just take that in.
Just breathe
For a
it in,
moment.
folks.
God bless Maya Tusi for taking a screenshot of that.
Everybody took her to. It took her an hour to delete this, which means it took her an hour to realize.
Yeah.
There was
It took Keir Starmer an hour to get in touch, or Tony Blair to get in touch and say, Diane,
Yeah.
come on.
there was the suggestion that someone put this into Chat GPT to make a sea shanty out of it, but
God.
I disavow.
Yes, disavow strongly. So let's just, okay, we're going to move into a more general discussion of the illegal immigration situation as it stands at the moment. So as you will all know, in the year ending March 2023, we saw about 45,000 people cross the channel in small boats. And for some perspective, that's 6.5 times the number of men that William the Conqueror brought over in 1066.
Yeah, I was going to say if 2022 numbers were to continue as they were, the rate of exponential increase, by 2024, we're going to have more illegal boat migrants entering the UK than UK men who stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day.
Well, let's not forget as well that in the entirety of last year, we had greater levels of net migration than we'd had over the previous 1,000 years before Tony Blair opened the borders.
Thanks,
I
Tone.
can't take you seriously. Take them
You're
off.
just going to have to learn to do it.
Oh, bloody
Just going to
hell.
have to deal with it.
So this graph shows the current trajectory for 2023, and well, I mean, what is there to even say? As of 3 days ago, 15,000 have crossed the channel this year, in 2023. And so the figure for the same time last year was 17,000 roughly, which is obviously higher, but 15,000 is still an absurd
OMG,
number.
based Tories
Yeah.
finally getting it done.
Promises made,
last.
promises kept.
Oh, thank goodness. And it's still nearly double the total for the whole of 2020.
And look
So-
at this. Somehow, in 2020, the pandemic year, when everything was shut down, it went up from the year before.
It's still multiplied
This-
by, what's that, about, 4 or 5 times from the previous year?
People don't realize, because it is such a prominent issue right now, that the illegal boats has literally only become a major issue in the past 4 years. It's
Weird.
absurd. Absolutely
Weird.
absurd.
So the problem shows no sign of abating. So shall we hear what our friends at the Conservative Party have in store to solve this problem?
Oh, yeah.
Illegal migration is simply unfair. It's unfair on the British people, who have opened their homes to genuine refugees, and it's unfair on taxpayers, who are having to spend nearly £6 million a day to put up illegal migrants in hotels. It's unfair on the people who come to this country legally, who see others jumping the queue, and it's particularly unfair to those putting their lives at risk in the hands of criminal gangs. That's why one of my top priorities as Prime Minister is to stop the boats, and I have a clear plan to get it done. Here's how. First, I recently passed laws that will mean that if you come to the UK illegally, you cannot claim
There
asylum.
he is aiming the
You
missiles.
cannot misuse our modern slavery protections. You can't make false human rights claims, and you can't stay. These laws will go further than any government has gone before. Second, I've secured the largest ever small boats deal with France, which will see 40% more patrols on French beaches. An additional 60 French reservists were deployed this week. This will help stop the boats at source before they cross the channel. I've also negotiated a deal with
strike 'em.
Albania, which will make it easier
Sorry,
to
that was-
deport
that
and
was
deter
mesmerising.
illegal migrants and foreign national offenders. We've already returned over 2,500. A third of all small boat crossings were from Albania last year. Now they're down 90%. Stopping the
Bringing
boats
over all the
requires
Indians instead.
international collaboration, and I'm making sure the UK leads the way. Third, I've increased raids by 50% to clamp down on illegal workers. I saw firsthand the impact this will have in deterring people from coming here when I joined immigration enforcement officers last month for what was the biggest ever single day of raids.
You can never take it seriously,
Fourth,
can you?
I'm ending the farce of illegal migrants being put up in hotels by the taxpayer. One way we're doing this is by using
our friend,
barges
guys.
to
Oh my
house
God.
migrants and
Putting them in
reduce
the barges
pressures on local
instead.
It's
communities.
like a supply teacher.
Fifth, I'm ensuring that the only way to come to the UK for asylum will be through safe and legal routes. And as we get a grip of illegal migration, we'll create more of these routes so that we
Oh,
can
yep, there it
continue
is.
to
Great.
help those in genuine need, like we've done for Ukrainians. I know stopping the boats is a priority for the British people. And as you can see, I'm leaving no stone unturned to get it done.
Right. So
I can't wait for the collapse.
here's why I want to shoot him out of the cannon at midnight. The framing at the
In
start.
Minecraft.
Yes, yeah, confetti cannon purely. So it's not going to be violent. His framing was it's unfair because it impacts refugees, because it impacts the people that want to come here legally, and because it impacts the housing market. Any word on the native British population having an entitlement to say we weren't asked about having our culture and country flooded by incompatible traditions
Connor,
at all?
Connor, you're clearly mistaken. Don't you know there is no such thing as the native British population? Are you talking about Celts, Saxons, whatever the other ones are called? I've forgotten all of a sudden. Because they don't really exist either, really, because at the heart of it, we're all individuals.
I hate zombie Thatcherism with a damn passion.
I know.
So I just want to say that Rishi Sunak,
What's the other one? I've completely forgotten.
Jutes, right?
Yeah, Jutes. Was there Nits? Not nits. I forgot.
Be careful, Harry.
I forgot.
Moving swiftly on.
I've forgotten what they're called, so please correct me in the comments below.
But Rishi Sunak he comes across like an awkward children's TV presenter.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like, his whole persona just seems like an act. Right? He's got the clearly coached hand movements, body language. And he's always got that sort of slight smirk behind everything he says.
He was like that in the hustings as well, and it
Yeah.
came off as really impersonal. Like
Ponzi sing-song
He
intonation.
comes off like an android from Westworld.
Yeah.
Or something.
yeah.
And I love the music. Did you notice the music in the background was badass? And
It's
we're getting
really
it done.
quiet in my ear, but
Yeah.
I have seen this before, and they have put some like hard beats.
Yeah, it was like
behind
something
it.
out of Mission Impossible. It was. I mean, it really.
He is also about the same size as Tom Cruise.
Well,
I want to see Rishi Sunak climbing a skyscraper now. There's a migrant at the top
Yeah.
who's escaped him.
Just hanging on to the outside of the plane that was leaving Afghanistan.
yeah. So obviously he went through his plan there. So I mean, first of all, on the deal with France, that's gone really well in the past, hasn't it? The millions and millions of pounds we've given the French to stop them. Well, have them stop people coming across.
Yeah, they just
Gone well.
waved them goodbye at the shore.
What happens is when you give people money to do something and they don't do it, so you pledge to give them more money for that thing they didn't do, they just keep.
Yeah,
They
not
do
doing
it. They
Yeah.
do an even better job next time. I think that's how it works.
This is Danegeld. You know, it's one of the oldest things in English history. You don't give money to people who are trying to extort you. It's pretty basic. The deal with Albania will have us pay them £4.4 million a year to take back their most dangerous prisoners. And this money is going to be used to fund prison refurbishments, increasing security, acquisition of rehabilitation equipment, and training of warders. So more taxpayer money going to foreign places. Something he didn't mention in this is he's also, just in the last couple of days, negotiated a deal with Turkey to disrupt people smuggling gangs. And the partnership apparently includes setting up a center of excellence in Turkey, whatever that means.
I suppose it's training even more dentists for
Is
the
this-
Turkish teeth.
Presumably.
Is this more money being sent to Turkey, like
Well,
those
this is the-
millions of pounds we're sending them for that train line that's apparently going to
Yeah,
give money to British bankers?
presumably.
Right.
Interestingly enough, Robert Jenrick has refused to say how much we're going to be giving them, just that we are going to be giving them.
That's nice.
So that's good.
I'm sure that money will come back to us eventually.
Yeah, and just the point where he says ending the farce of illegals being put up in hotels, as if that was not something that he and his government decided to do. Again, speaking as if the opposition did that, and now we're going to repeal
I can't
this.
believe
Support them
Labour
tomorrow.
would do this.
I know, just insane. So yeah, and it obviously ended on this this picture here, which I mean,
the
it's just
Rwanda
work.
exchange scheme as well, where we
Yeah.
take, for everyone we deport, Rwanda can send someone over to use the National Health Service without ever paying into it. Thanks.
Splendid and tremendous.
How many is it we've sent to Rwanda by now? Is it a couple of dozen, if that?
Something like that. Yeah, very few. So a few points here on just what Rishi Sunak has said. So as Carl rightly points out, the language that Rishi Sunak uses, where he says jumping the queue to get to this prison, to get to Britain, as if Britain is just some economic platform, some place defined by
We're an
the
economic zone.
yeah.
That's all we are.
mercenary incentives that anybody can come and just exploit. The New Culture Forum, likewise, have also said that even if illegal immigration was reduced to zero, we would still have a migration problem,
Yeah.
which is absolutely correct because the primary issue with immigration in this country is legal, as we've said multiple times already. And I think the crucial point there is that the illegal channel crossings they're an incredibly useful tool for the Conservative because it's such an obviously, visibly egregious and outrageous thing. It's just insane.
It's
That they
televised
have
immigration,
created.
yeah.
And so it can be wheeled out to gin up fury among the people and take their eyes off things that are actually, probably in the long run, more damaging, like the fact that legal immigration is at an all-time high. It's just, again, as much as it is an important issue, the illegal immigration, you can't take your eyes, ignore the noise, focus on the signal, focus on what's actually doing the damage, and that is the legal immigration. So, Lee Anderson, as I said at the start, he said that they should F off back to France, and he's received the full backing of the party. So we just have to ask, do you believe them? Do
No.
you believe that they're going to get this done?
No.
He's since come out, voice crack. He has since come out admitting humility, admitting that the Tories have failed to tackle illegal immigration. And again, he's received the full backing of the party. So as far as I'm concerned, We have to look at this as a tactic. It's a
So,
game.
so the Conservatives' tactic for the next election is to continually come out and go, yes, we're terrible, vote for us.
Trust us, we'll fix our own F-ups.
The thing is, I think Lee is actually sincere. I think there are some sincere backbenchers that are hamstrung by the permanent managerial class, which is encrusted over the cabinet, which uses illegal migration as a distraction technique to mask the fact that they are wedded to an economic system which keeps importing people from the third world en masse as economic actors to keep artificially inflating the GDP because they can't achieve growth. And so I believe him, but it doesn't matter.
Well, it's the fact
just
that
doesn't matter.
the party keeps coming out and saying, we stand behind this entirely. Okay, so what's the positive thrust of your next election platform? Is we're going to fix the problems that we created in the first place, and then what?
But Harry, have you considered Labour will be even worse?
I know, but Tories will still be terrible. So, great.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we have to assume that anything said by a high-ranking politician has been cleared with the top brass of the party.
Yes.
So we have to ask, what is the game being played here? Because we've seen how the Conservative Party treats genuine dissidents in the form of Andrew Bridgen.
Yes.
Identified as an enemy, cleared out with immediate effect. If this was the case with Lee Anderson, that would be happening, but it hasn't. So what's the point of this tactic that they've employed? I mean, again, I think it's basically to throw red meat to the Gammons. He's on our side. He's one of us. He gets it. He's using harsh language and so on.
But ultimately, it's containment.
Exactly. Yeah. It's containment. That's right. And I agree with you. I mean, Lee Anderson may well be sincere. I met the guy once, and he seemed like a decent enough guy. He's got a fairly based history. Started out as a coal miner, did that for 10 years, worked for the Citizens Advice Bureau, and then volunteered in hostels supporting the homeless. Began his political career in 2015 as a Labour Party councillor, but was suspended in February 2018 after he used boulders to block a group of gypsies from setting up camp at a site in the area.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
For the many, not the few. I thought that was Labour's thing.
Indeed, yes. So shortly thereafter, he defected to the Conservatives and stating that the Labour Party had been taken over by the hard left. All good, all based, all true. He campaigned for Brexit, and he also campaigned on issues such as halving the foreign aid budget. So again, we might look at this guy in isolation and think, okay, I can get on board with a lot of this stuff. But ultimately, he is a spokesperson for the party. I mean, as you say, the party of mass immigration, the party that has done the most damage to this country and that will go down in history as being, again, the stewards of Britain's destruction. And something else he said was on the small boats crisis, he said, I'd send them straight back the same day. I'd put them on a Royal Navy frigate or whatever and sail it to Calais, have a standoff, and they'd just stop coming. So again, good rhetoric.
Yes.
But until we see Royal Navy frigates in the Channel, until we see this problem solved, and most importantly, until we see the violence being inflicted on the English community in the form of mass legal immigration addressed, the words that these traitors use don't mean a damn thing.
Very well said.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Epoch series, this episode on Robert Walpole. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.